Hey guys, Bigger 310 here. We're going to talk about ROH's Final Battle 2011. I said I would review the show. I said I was looking forward to the show. And overall, I don't know what to say. Was I disappointed? Not really. If you think of it from a kayfabe standpoint, I mean, I was not looking forward to two matches. So if those two matches kind of dragged the show down a little bit, well, I wasn't looking forward to them in the first place. I can't really complain. But the show was long. I'm sorry, it was really long. It was like 4 hours and 15 minutes, which was insane. Now, even people are like, "Oh, but with intermission, it's an internet pay-per-view. It's part of the pay-per-view." If I have to, I mean, obviously, I got up. Like, I got a drink. Like, I did some work. Like, I accomplished stuff. But still, it's part of the show. And even without the intermission, it was still a solid 4 hours because the intermission was not long. I'm sorry. So really not very long show, and a bunch of people probably telling me on Twitter like, "Calm down. WrestleMania is a different animal. Okay, it's a big stage with a big crowd. There's a million different things going on. There's a million backstage skits going on. The way to keep one's attention is to constantly change pace. Like it's match, segment, match, promo, segment, match, segment, match. And Ring of Honor for a pay-per-view like Ring of Honor, it's just match. And I love Ring of Honor. I love wrestling. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like a sports entertainment fan, but it's just when you do that consistently for 4 hours, like, oh, my brain was just getting tired. I was like, Didn't help that I went to the beach earlier today, but I was exhausted by the main event. I was like, oh my god, I'm never exhausted during WrestleMania ever. WrestleMania, I'm always like, I'm always alert because they're constantly changing things, and the care level is a little higher. But for this show, I also think because it was on the internet, I also think that hurt it. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, well, you could have hooked it up to your TV." It's still, man, for me, having to sit through 4 hours of clear pay-per-view is one thing. Having to sit through 4 hours of internet quality pay-per-view with the occasional glitch, like every 10 minutes that lasted like two or 3 seconds, doing that for 4 hours, it's tiring. I'm sorry. Whether I put it on the TV or on the computer. So I was very tired. And one excuse that I really hated, like someone was like, "Oh, come on. So Ring of Honor, those are Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor always has long shows." That's not an excuse for them to put on a 4-hour show. I'm sorry. This show is far too long. Now, I know what True Sarah was saying was, it's their WrestleMania, so they can let them do 4 hours this time. If they do 4 hours next time, it's a problem. And I agree with that. But I didn't feel there was a necessity to go 4 hours. They could have done the same show in 3.5, and would have been just as good. I felt that they went 4 hours just to go 4 hours. No, I disagree with that. Definitely disagree with that. They definitely could have done stuff better to make it a 3.5-hour show, and it would have been just as good. Same ratings for every match, I promise you, especially for the main event. All right, so for this show, I thought it was good. I would say very good. The first half I thought was really good. Like, it got the show off to a nice start, and I was like, damn, man, we're going to have one amazing pay-per-view. And then by the time we got to the Roderick Strong match, I was like, I remember that I wrote on Twitter. I wrote this on Twitter. I said, I have a bad feeling the double main event is going to bring down the show. The tag title match, I thought definitely brought down the show. And the main event, I thought just brought down the show just because it was too long. And I thought it was also underwhelming because the pacing of the match was kind of off. I thought the structure of the match should have been different. And I'm not going to say the main event was the second best match on the show, in my opinion. But I definitely think it did bring down the show a little bit. So let's get into this. The opener, Michael Elgin, TJP, solid 3-star, young high flyer versus big ground and pound powerhouse. I mean, come on, the story tells itself. 3 stars. Jimmy Rave, Tommaso, Ciampa. Probably the worst match on the show. I saw a lot of people on Twitter crapping on Rave's effort. The dude was in fucking India for most of this week. They need to take like a 26-hour flight, I think, back to New York to work Ring of Honor. Cut the guy some slack. And it's not like this match was going to be any amazing. I mean, but I thought it was fine for what it was. They told a great story. I really liked the jacket stuff. I got a feeling that, by the way, let me say this crowd, I was going to say, I got a feeling that this crowd didn't really understand it, but this crowd as a whole, I thought I don't know what was up with them tonight. They were not the usual New York City crowd. They were so dead by the second half of the show. They were just so tired. This is not like a crowd that's like a bad crowd. No, they were just dead fucking tired. I went to Final Battle last year, and I had a lot of fun. But people told me that the show was really long. I didn't even notice. I was like, really? It didn't feel long live. Live, it felt like just a fun, like it was my first Ring of Honor show, but it felt like a fun, like flowed together show. I had a great time. And people were like, man, that show was so long. And I was like, really? I didn't notice. This show, I think the crowd noticed that it was a long show. And they were just dead tired by the second half. That's what I think. I mean, I don't think it's just that they didn't care. They cared when Hero returned. They cared about the Briscoes stuff. But they were just tired, man. They weren't really reacting that much throughout the whole show. They weren't really reacting to that much throughout the whole show. But especially in the second half, it just got really bad. But even in some parts of the first few matches, they were kind of just like, whatever. But I thought, man, I mean, like Drew Slayer proposed an idea. Maybe this is a different crowd. Maybe. Possible. But we'll see. So, Ciampa, Rave, 2.5 stars. It was okay. Bennett, Lethal, Generico. I thought this was like the third best match on the show. Actually, maybe fourth best. This and the Roderick Strongest Hero match, I kind of hold on the same level. This match I thought was good. Thought it was fun. I do agree with what Pod Johnny Ringo said on Twitter, that the pace was kind of off, and it was. But Generico is the fucking man. In my opinion, he made this match. And I love Lethal. Lethal is one of my top 5 favorite wrestlers today, with Bryan Danielson, Mike Quackenbush, Johnny Gargano, and Adam Cole. I love Jay Lethal. But I thought El Generico definitely is what put this match over the top. And Mike Bennett did a good job playing the chicken shit heel, like doing the running, like come in, push, run away. Like, it worked really well for him. And El Generico made the match a lot of fun. I gave it 3.25 stars. I really enjoyed it. Maria, I thought was excellent. I thought that she played her part well. I mean, I know a lot of people were very upset that they were like, oh my God, they won't pay Sarah Del Rey to be valet, but they'll pay Maria. Is this Ring of Honor? I get it. And I'm not saying I approve of it, but to me, it wasn't that a big deal. I mean, so Maria's coming in. She's Bennett's girlfriend. Let it go. Who cares? And so, yeah, I liked the match a lot. 3.25 stars. I was surprised that Bennett didn't win. I was really surprised that Bennett didn't win, actually. Like, everyone was saying, man, hey, man, Mike Bennett's going to win this match. Like, everyone was saying, oh, this is the most predictable match on the show. Mike Bennett's going to win. It's so obvious. He said at the beginning of the year that he guaranteed he'd be champion by 2011. They were teasing him to become TV champion at Final Battle last year. It's so going to happen, and it didn't happen. I was shocked. Not necessarily happy by it either. Like, I was like, because Jay Lethal recently won a world title shot. So I thought by losing here to Bennett, he can finally move up and become the he can finally move up into the main event scene where he belongs and leave Bennett in the mid card. But unfortunately, I guess that did not happen. Whatever. So yeah, unfortunately, that didn't happen, and Bennett didn't win, which makes me sad because I think Bennett's eventually going to win. I think we're just going to waste more time. I think like maybe the next iPPV, a Bennett Lethal singles match. I definitely see him being the next TV champion. Maybe. I mean, that's at least what. I mean, Ring of Honor is really high on him supposedly, and he gets good heel heat. So, but whatever. 3.25. Kevin Steen versus Steve Corino. This match was insane. Very brutal. Very brutal. I know a lot of people won't be happy with this match because of how brutal it was. I personally appreciated it because of how old Steve Corino is, 38. The amount of effort that was put into this match, the way this match was told, the structure, the match kind of kept building up and building up. Like, I know the barricade spot was the big deal, but like the progression through the match, like as they're using more and more weapons, it became more about their finishers on these weapons, like a suplex through the barricade and then like a punch through the table with a bunch of chairs. But then it progressed from that, like Steen did his little, I don't even know what it's called. Fuck, I should know what it's called. This like suplex, turn up, drop the guy's head on your knee onto a chair, and then that grew into the leg drop on the chair, then the package pile driver on the chairs, like the finisher progression increased. And they used a chair spot from Final Battle last year, which was awesome. This was madness. So many ridiculous spots in this match. It was insane. It was ridiculously brutal. I believe this for a while. If you're going to do a hardcore match like this, you need to go all out and then some, or else it's going to be a shitty hardcore match. And this match wasn't going to be like that because they actually had a build and had like a progression, but they went all out, and that's what made the match awesome. And it was the match of the night by far. 4.25 stars. One of the best Ring of Honor matches of the year, really. Great performance by Steen and Steve Corino. And the aftermath was great. I don't want to spoil it. Just watch it. Kevin Steen is amazing. Intermission. The tag gauntlet, I thought was okay. I'd say it was barely good. Barely 3 stars, maybe. I just hate gauntlet matches. I remember the gauntlet match they did at Death Before Dishonor 8. I hated that match. I hate gauntlet matches. They're usually really long. They don't usually get anyone that over because 9 times out of 10 the team that wins is either the 5th or 6th spot. We just get a bunch of individual matches that don't account for anything. A lot of people have to take jobs. I've never ever been a fan of gauntlet matches, and this one was better because I guess it had tag teams involved. And the All Night Express lost to the Young Bucks, which a lot of people predicted. So Popinski 82 said this on Twitter, and I would agree with him. Brian, the shoot interview I did with Brian, he said that All Night Express getting hurt must have really changed the plans. And I agree. I thought the plan was at one point World's Greatest Tag Team win tonight, All Night Express win at Mania weekend. That's what it looked like. I mean, a proving ground match theoretically is when you win a proving ground match, you win a future match with the champions. And theoretically, if you're going to book a match like that, you book it so you face the same champions that you already beat. Theoretically, I would think. Why would you have a concept like that and cash in against the champions that you didn't beat? Why do you earn a title shot? You beat the former champions. You didn't beat the current champions. That's my opinion. So I think the plan was all along for them to eventually get the tag title match against World's Greatest Tag Team. But that's all going to be delayed, at least for a little bit. I posted this on my Twitter. Follow me at twitter.com/BigRat310. I said, have we started the Tyler Black countdown with KNX? Some people have said yes. Some people said no. We'll see. We will see. We'll see. Like, it all depends on when they give it to him, and they have to give it to him. They're next, in my opinion. All right. And so, yeah, that was that. Then we got Roderick Strong versus Chris Hero. I don't think Chris Hero was the original opponent because they couldn't have known that Chris Hero, like, it wasn't revealed that Chris Hero his WWE run would be delayed until a few weeks ago when they originally booked this match. I don't think they had Chris Hero in mind. I still think they had someone else, but when Chris Hero was available, I guess they thought showcasing Hero would have been better than whoever they had. Or maybe they would have just had Grizzly Rebel run out. Who knows? The Nigel, they teased it. They did tease it out this pay-per-view, the future Roderick Strong versus Nigel match, which makes me very happy in case they're going to tease it. Or maybe they just brought it up just so they could bring it up and move on. But they didn't bring it up like Nigel. Like, they didn't end it by Nigel saying, I'm an announcer. I'm not a wrestler anymore. I'm done. No, they brought it up by him saying Roderick Strong didn't want to fight me. Which, to me, builds to something else. I mean, if you wanted to just end it, couldn't you just say, hey, not a wrestler anymore? So Chris Hero came out and fight Roderick Strong, and I thought the match was good. Probably the fourth or third best saw match of the night. This or the 3-way, take your pick. I thought it was very entertaining for the most part. I thought Chris Hero looked good, but for whatever reason, something just, I don't know. I don't want to say that it didn't get to the next level because I don't think it intended to, but something didn't click. Something to me, I don't know. Something to me feels like this could have gone a little better. And also, I know I'm being a Debbie Downer here, but I said this on my Twitter, man. Chris Hero doesn't belong in Ring of Honor anymore. Chris Hero belongs in the WWE. It's sad. To me, I was like I think the Instant Classic 8 put it best. It's a bittersweet moment. It's like, yay, it's great to see him, but he really needs to be in bigger and better places. Supposedly he didn't pass his medicals, and that's why he's not there yet. He's taking them again in January. That's what I heard. And Dave Meltzer said he might do 1 or 2 more shows, so that's awesome. It's a shame that it's not the Miami shows, but whatever. So the match was good. I'd give it 3.25 stars. Put on the same level as the Triple Threat, really. Briscoes versus World's Greatest Tag Team. This, in my opinion, disaster. Disaster. On this grand of a stage as Final Battle, disaster. And I've heard people say, nah, not really. They were trying to work a certain talent match. Any person with common sense would have known that what they did wasn't good, in my opinion. All right. Briscoes come out, they're cheered like crazy. Haas and Benjamin come out, they're booed like crazy. Understandable. The crowd hates Haas and the most Ring of Honor fans, most hardcore internet Ring of Honor fans like myself probably do not like Haas and Benjamin very much. But a lot of it probably has to do with the promo the Briscoes cut, which got them over his faces, in my opinion. And they booed the shit out of Haas and Benjamin. Haas and Benjamin immediately took it to it. They flipped off the crowd. They were attacking the Briscoes, hitting them with the belt shots, hitting them, like, brutalizing them. And several people on Twitter were saying, double turn, double turn, double turn Haas and Benjamin, double turn the Briscoes. It makes sense. The Briscoes are being cheered like faces anyways. Haas and Benjamin are being booed out of the building anyways. But man, double turn. They were just like, they were brutalizing the Briscoes for like 10 minutes. Several unprotected chair shots to the head. That bothered me, not as much as it bothered a lot more people. A lot more people were really upset at Ring of Honor with it. In my opinion, I thought it was more than likely that Jay Briscoe was supposed to put his hands up, but didn't because he's Jay Briscoe, because he's kind of crazy. Like Nigel McGuinness yells at the top of his lungs to Jay, "Put your hands up!" at one point. So I do not think Ring of Honor like said, hey, unprotected chair shots to the head. Yeah, no, I think it was more of a case of like Jay didn't want to put his hands up. And it still bothered me. That still doesn't excuse the match. But I'm just saying, I thought it was more, in my opinion, like, this is me assuming, like, I don't really know, but I thought it was more likely that this was more the Briscoes doing than Ring of Honor's, my opinion. So the Haas and Benjamin are being badass heels, beating the shit out of them. Briscoes make a comeback. The crowd's cheering for them. Benjamin has taped up ribs. And then Jay Briscoe went for a dive right on top of Haas. Benjamin ducked in the way. They fell on top of Benjamin, and Benjamin had to be carried out of the building. And the Briscoes were double teaming Charlie Haas by themselves. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I thought the Briscoes were supposed to turn face. Now they have a 2-on-1 advantage. I thought Haas and Benjamin were turning heel. Now Benjamin's going to make his comeback, and we have to cheer for the fiery heel. It made no sense. It's this one little thing, but to me it completely killed the match because it reversed everything the match was trying to do. Like, I thought from the start of the match, okay, we're supposed to buy into Haas and Benjamin as heels, the Briscoes as faces, great. But they completely switched it. Why? Even if the long-term plan is not to do that, on this very night, the crowd was going to cheer the Briscoes, they were going to boo Haas and Benjamin. Why the hell would they do that Benjamin injury angle? Why the hell would they do him having to be carried out? And then Benjamin comes back, and I'm like, okay, he's the fiery babyface. The ref was down. So I'm like, okay, it's confusing. And then Benjamin takes a board and breaks it over Jay Briscoe's head. Now he's the heel again. He went from heel to face to heel. I'm confused. I'm dead confused. And then they go to do the Doomsday device, and Mark hits Benjamin with the board when the ref's not looking. So now the Briscoes are heel again as well? And then the Briscoes hit the Doomsday device, and the ref counts the pin, and the Briscoes win the titles. It was insane. To me, it was too much. 2.5 stars. I'm sorry. I really hated that. The structure of this was fucking horrendous. I mean, it made no sense. Constant flip-flopping. The crowd didn't know what to do. The crowd at one point was like, what? Everyone on Twitter, like, my whole timeline, like 5 people in a row were saying, like, I'm confused. I'm confused. Myself, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Are the Briscoes supposed to end up as faces after that? I'm not sure. It was just very, very confusing. It was weird. Plus the unprotected chair shots. Too much disaster. In my opinion, too much disaster in that match for it to be considered a good match. I know some people have called it good, given it a 3-star rating, fine. My opinion, too much disaster, 2.5 stars. Okay. It was okay, because the actual action in the ring wasn't bad, but just all this shit was just bad. Like, this is TNA level bad. Then we get to Eddie Edwards versus Davey Richards. I kind of spoke my piece about this earlier. I just thought it was too long. It was 41 minutes, which on a 4-hour show I thought was kind of ridiculous. In my opinion, this match could have been 25 minutes, gotten a better rating, and the whole show and the whole match would have been better as a result. They kicked out of so many moves, like too much. Like, this is beyond kicking out of too many things. They kicked out of too many things, and then too many things, and too many things, and then there was a run-in spot, and all the interference got taken out, and then they kept wrestling for 12 more minutes, which I thought was ridiculous. Dan Severn, the House of Truth, Kyle O'Reilly, Tony Gazzina, they're all brawling, and then they all leave, and it's just Davey and Eddie, and they fight for 12 more fucking minutes. At one point, I forget what it was, whether it was the dragon suplex off the top rope or something, legitimately, I was 1, 2, Eddie kicked out, and I grabbed the pen from right here, and I threw it across the room, and I said, fuck this shit! Because it was just ridiculous. The match progressively got worse and worse and worse, and the structure was terrible. For what they wanted to do, not terrible, but it was paced weirdly. Truth Serious wrote this on Twitter, and I agree with him, that for the MMA thing that they had, they probably should have had them exchanging strikes, and then going to the ground, and then going from there, but it didn't really work like that. It was more like Eddie's the fiery babyface who's kicking out of everything, and everything, and everything, and everything, and it just became too much. I gave the match 3.5 stars. I think that's generous. It was 41 minutes. In those 41 minutes, there were probably 10, 15 minutes that I really, really liked. So, 3.5 stars. I still thought it was a good match. Maybe, 3.25. It was a good match. Second best on the show, probably. I would say it was very, pretty to very good. 3.25 stars. To me, that's fair. But they kicked out too many things. So yeah, overall, I'd give the show a 7.5. That to me is fine. There's an amazing match, and there's just there's a few good matches, and I mean, there's only 2 matches sub 3 stars, but the last 2 matches just really left me with a bad taste in my mouth. And the show was really long, and the crowd wasn't very good in the second half. Crowd didn't give a shit about the main event. So like my overall taste of the show, my overall enjoyment, my overall feel of the show wasn't really there. That's why maybe the show should get a higher rating with the star ratings it has, but I can't go higher than 7.5. Very good show, not a great show. Would I recommend it? For $15. Watch the first half. The first half is a lot of fun. It flows really well. The second half, the Gauntlet match, I'm just not a big Gauntlet match fan. The Chris Hero match, I just saw that and I was like, you should be in the WWE. As good as the match was. The Briscoes match, I didn't like at all. And the main event left me with a bad taste in my mouth as well and went way too long. So I had something bad to say about everything in the second half. First half, I had nothing bad to say, pretty much, for the first 4 matches. So, enjoy. Big Red 310. That is it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you watched Final Battle and you enjoyed it, leave a comment, talk about it, follow me on Twitter. I'm out. Goodbye.